Hey everyone, thank you for joining me again here today at Kaylee's Corner. My name is Kaylee and I am so glad that you are joining me. I have another word from the Lord that I wanted to go ahead and share with you. I have it here on my notebook so that if you see me looking down, I'm just reading through it. So this one is a word that God gave me on April 29th, 2022, and it's roughly just kind of me having a conversation with God as he's kind of I would say like parenting moment as he's kind of correcting my thinking, correcting my thought pattern. But yeah, I don't feel like I'm the only one that is walking through this or is struggling with it, and something that God is wanting to set me free from and wanting me to work through. So I just wanted to go ahead and share it with you guys. I pray that it would be something that touches you in a way that would, set you free of some of those lies that we've been believing or some of those areas that we've been stuck in. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and read through it and then pray at the end. So it says, this is pretty much God talking to me. You worry way too much. What would happen if you didn't worry about it? And this is my response. Well, I don't know. I guess it could still happen. And he said, well, what happens when you worry about it? And I said, well, I feel more prepared for it if it were to happen. And so he's like, so you end up worrying about it twice then? And then he said, well, what would happen if everything you worried about did actually come true? And then I'm like, well, I guess I would just deal with it, with whatever I'm presented with, and then I would move on. And so he's like, so what you're saying is you could worry about it twice, or you could just deal with it once and move on. And then he's like, sounds like an easy answer to me. I'd say worry about what needs your attention right now, and then let the rest fade away and only deal with it if it becomes a problem and you have to face it later on. Then you're not worrying about it twice. Plus, you trust that you'll be able to deal with it if and only if you have to deal with it. Because really what happens is your worrying does nothing except it takes you away from the time that you have right here, and what you have right now is precious and it's all that you've really ever been given. So cast your cares on me and I will worry when needed, and the rest will be up to you to take care of or take action only if it's needed. Sometimes taking action looks like resting when you need it. Don't be so hard on yourself and you'll get there. You are getting there. Besides, it's more about the journey anyways. So that's kind of an insight into my relationship with God. It's just kind of like a little parenting moment there of I tend to overanalyze everything, and I tend to get kind of stuck and really worry about different things and find myself not being able to move forward with different things that he's asked me to do, simply because I'm worrying about things that, like he said, in his terms they might not ever even happen. So now I'm just coming up with scenarios that probably won't even happen and worry about them when that's not his intention. He's like, that's not even on my radar. It doesn't even need to be on your radar either. And just to kind of release that's not something that I have to worry about. And besides, if I spend time worrying about that, then I'm not actually living in the present right now, which that's really God's goal, like he wants us to be here in the present, like, because that's what he's given us. And that worry mindset, that over analytical mindset tends to take me away from the present moment. And that's definitely something God is reminding me of, is that's not him. He is of peace, and worrying and living in anxiety and fear of the future happenings that might or might not even happen just really take away from what he's wanting to try to do right here and right now. And that was never his goal. It was never his goal for us to live in worry or anxiety, and to just release that and let it go and give it to God. And then the second part of that is to release it knowing that you will be able to handle it if you need to, because you have God on your side. And also, we are smart, intelligent, wise, discerning, honest, capable people. And I don't think we give ourselves enough credit that we can really deal with a lot if we're faced with it, but we don't have to spend the time trying to figure out if we will be faced with it or not, because really most of these things we don't have any control over, and that tends to be why we worry about them in the beginning. So for me, what my reminder has always been is to trust that I will be able to handle it if it becomes a problem. And if it doesn't become a problem, then great. I didn't spend any extra time worrying about it becoming a problem. But if it is something that I do end up having to deal with, then I can call on God. I can call on my own wisdom, on my own strength, call on God's strength, whatever it is, He will give us those resources to be able to deal with it. But that's only if and when we need it. Until then, let's try to live in the moment. Let's try to live in the present, and to defeat that anxiety, to defeat that worry of the future really comes from knowing that right now is what is the most important thing, and anything that is taking us away from right now is not of God, and that we need to really submit that thought or that worry to God. And most of the time, I can't say all of the time, but most of the time, He will remind us and show us that that isn't even something that needs to be on our mind right now. And when He takes that away, when we let that go and we release that, then we're finally able to come back to being present and live in the moment, live right here, right now. And that's really what God wants for us. So yeah, I just pray that that's a good reminder for you, and I pray that it would set you free and remind you to release any of those worries that are out of our control, and trust that if you have to deal with those things, you will be able to do it. You are capable of doing it if you need to, but you don't need to worry about it in advance, because all you're doing is worrying about it twice, and it might not ever even happen. So I pray that this would release you from all of those worries of the future. At least for right now. I understand it's always a work in progress, and I am always reminding myself of this very thought, that if I need to do something in the future, then I will deal with it then. But otherwise, I don't, and I won't allow it to take me away from where I'm at right here and right now. And I'm going to hand it over to God, because He's the only one that can deal with it. And His burdens are light, and He will show me the way. And I will trust that if He's showing me the way, that He has equipped me for that way. So I pray that this is that this is just a word that settles deep into your heart to remind you who you are and remind you who God is, and that it's all going to be okay. And sometimes when we get so focused on what could happen, we really forget what is actually happening. And I don't want to miss out on the world, I don't want to miss out on the world right now for what might never happen. And I pray that you don't either, because God's doing a lot right here and right now, and I don't want to miss it. So I pray that you would, just receive this from the Lord and take it back to Him so that He can speak to you even deeper. And until I see you again, I pray that you have a blessed day and a blessed week, and I'll see you again. Bye.